Hey guys, it's the BrownBag talking sports here again to talk about the New Orleans Saints. This time we'll be discussing our recent preseason matchup against the Los Angeles Chargers. But before we get into that, I want to address my recent absence. Earlier this week, I had some issues with my jaw. It kind of hurt to move. It was feeling sore, so I didn't really do any recording. On Sunday, I actually was writing down some talking points. I was actually writing down some notes so that I could make this video because I actually got to watch the game on television. It was one of the few games they televised that week, so yeah, it was a pretty cool experience. Got to watch it with my dad. It was really nice. But yeah, I was actually writing down some talking points, but literally right on Monday, my jaw was feeling like crap, and I had some neck pain too. It just wasn't a nice experience. So yeah, if I didn't experience that jaw pain, I would definitely have this video out a lot sooner. But that's just what didn't happen. So to everybody who waited for my content, who waited for my video to pop up, thank you. But yeah, that's basically all I have to say. So without further ado, let's get into the game. First, I want to talk about Teddy Bridgewater and how he played. Um, Overall, I didn't really like his performance out there. It was actually really disappointing considering what he did against the Vikings in just one half alone. But this time he wasn't able to get he wasn't able to get in the same groove as he was against the Vikings. He finished with 40 yards. He was 5 for 12. He had no touchdown passes, and he had a pick, a red zone pick. Bridgewater went to throw the ball to one of our receivers, and it was a simple pass. There was nobody around him. The receiver was just standing there. He was ready for the ball and everything, but Teddy overthrew him unnecessarily. And it's not like the ball didn't get to him. It's not like it wasn't in the vicinity of the receiver, but the receiver, he tried to go up and get it, but it was such an awkward pass. Like he was expecting maybe a lower pass, but it was such an awkward pass that he tried to get up at it, and he tipped it up for a Chargers defender to get it. And yeah, you could try and blame the receiver for not catching it. I wouldn't blame you that much, but to be fair, the receiver was open for a decent amount of time, and when Teddy saw him, he unnecessarily overthrew him, and that might have caught the receiver by surprise. So, yeah, yeah. Overall, this was a stinker by him, and part of that reason may have to do with the fact that he had an undisclosed illness before the game. I'm recording this currently on Friday, and I still don't have any word on what the illness was. So my guess is like a light flu or some light cold that he had, maybe some dizziness from one of those illnesses, because it couldn't have been that severe, at least at the start, because he felt like he could probably play through it. I get that the illness probably, well, there's no probably about it. It definitely messed with his game, probably messed with his head a little bit. But when you're out there on that gridiron and you play in a position as important as the quarterback, you have to be able to produce. You can't overthrow simple passes, man. Thankfully, Bridgewater didn't try and hide behind his illness as an excuse. He I don't know the full quote. I'll probably put it on the screen, but basically what he was saying is that he's got to learn how to work through those moments of sickness, you know. And when he steps on the gridiron, that he needs to show up for his team. That's basically the gist of what he said, and I'm glad that he's taking responsibility for this like a man, and I'm glad that he recognizes his own mistakes. So I'm not gonna come down on him too harsh. Um, there was a lot of Saints videos that were probably kind of hard on him earlier in the week when they didn't know what was going on. So I wish nothing but the best for Bridgewater. I hope he's healthy enough for the Jets game this upcoming Saturday. So yeah, pretty disappointing performance by Bridgewater, but he was a man and he took responsibility for it. So yeah, that's pretty much all my thoughts on Bridgewater. Taysom Hill, on the other hand, he had a really excellent game. Hill went for 11 for 15. He had 136 passing yards, and he had 2 touchdown passes. Last week, I was criticizing his accuracy. The pick six that he threw wasn't really his fault. That fell more on the tight end, so I didn't really give him much crap for that. But the passes they threw against the Vikings, I didn't really find them really impressive. The one touchdown pass he had that game was impressive, but it was just the simple passes that looked kind of off to me. But this game, I saw like maybe 1 or 2 passes that weren't that good, but overall he did pretty well. His accuracy was pretty good, which was impressive because for the most part of the game he was on the run because our offensive line, I don't want to throw shade at our offensive line like they're not doing crap. They had a pretty decent game, but there were a few times where Taysom Hill got lit up. Props to him though. He took the hits and he was still slinging that ball and he was still running. He had a drive where he ran a few times and had this big gain on one of them. And it was really a shame that it kind of went to waste because Ozigbo fumbled the ball, but we'll get into that later. But yeah, he had a really good time scrambling. And to focus on his accuracy a bit more, he had some really good throws. Like the first throw he had to Austin Carr for the touchdown, his first touchdown pass of the game. It was really good. Like it was a quality throw. And the second touchdown pass he had, he was on the run and then he threw it to like it was like the mid part of the right of the end zone. Like it was on the rightmost side of it. It wasn't like specifically to the corner, but it was like in the middle of the 2 right corners of the end zone. And that was a really good throw on the run. I'll definitely be looking forward to some of Taysom Hill next week because this was a really good game from him, especially being down 17-3 in that first half. Yeah, he led the team back and we got out of there with the W. Taysom Hill is one of the main reasons we won this game. His accuracy was on point. When he had to, he scrambled out of the pocket to make a big play. And he brought a whole new energy to a Saints offense that was practically dead by halftime. But one of the other reasons we won this game was because of our defense. If you remember anything about the Minnesota Vikings game, the defense didn't play good. They didn't play good at all. The rushing defense was barely there. And the secondary, I mean, don't even get me started on our secondary. It was just practically non-existent. And the only takeaway we had that game wasn't even because of one of our defenders. It was because one of the Vikings running backs dropped the ball. Like he literally just dropped it. I don't know how. He had it in his hands perfectly. Nobody touched him, nobody hit him. It was just gone. And our defense didn't really they didn't make an impact. But this game, this was a different story. Yeah, we were down 17-3 by halftime, but if you actually look at the game, the Chargers didn't score anything until late second quarter. They got a field goal after that, and their final touchdown of the game was off of a punt return. That falls on our special teams unit more than it does on our overall defense. But yeah, even then in that first half, we were playing really good. It's just the offense couldn't do anything with the ball for the longest time. And when Taysom Hill finally stepped out and he finally did something, the defense actually had a reason to stop these guys from scoring. And stop them from scoring they did, because the Chargers didn't score a single point after that first half. I'm never that big on the secondary. I think that the secondary could always be better, but I have to give it up to them. They had a pretty good game today. I remember two occasions where one of our defenders in the secondary deflected a ball that could have potentially been a big gain for the Chargers offense. So I have to give it to the secondary this game. They played pretty good. But the ones that bring this defense together are the ones rushing the quarterback, the defensive linemen. Our rushing defense improved immensely from last week, and we were always getting pretty decent pressure on the quarterback. I have to give credit to the defensive linemen. I mean, the secondary, of course. I mean, you got those two big turnovers that the defensive linemen mainly force, but at the end of the day, the secondary has to hold on to the ball. So, yeah, props to AJ Klein and Colton Jumper. Jumper actually returned his interception all the way back to the end zone, but one of our defenders illegally blocked one of the Chargers players. So, yeah, it was brought back. We got to keep the ball and kneel it at the end of the game. We were up 19-17. So, either way, we got to end the game. But yeah, I was kind of upset by that. I wanted Jumper to get I wanted him to get 6, but nevertheless, he got the pick and we won the game. So that's all that matters at the end of the day, right? But yeah, the defensive linemen are what really bring this defense together. I'm really impressed with how they've improved from that Vikings game. I'm glad that they moved on from that and focused on some improvements. To talk about the receiving for a little bit, the receiving, all the receivers did a pretty good job. Yeah, Taysom Hill did a pretty decent job spreading the ball around. He didn't just go to one guy, so the stat sheet kind of equals out for everybody. But the main standout to me was Lil Jordan Humphreys. It was late in the fourth. It was like 4 minutes and a few left. We needed a score badly, and Lil Jordan Humphreys, he caught a pretty high pass from Taysom Hill because Hill was under a little pressure, but he saw Humphreys was open, so he threw the ball. It was a little high, but Humphreys went up and got that ball, and he got a few yards after the catch, and that was his only reception in the game. He didn't do much of anything before or after that, but yeah, I've seen a few receivers this preseason see passes like that and not really go for it, or not even see it at all, or try and catch it, but they tip it up and it's incomplete, or some other defender gets it for the interception. I've seen that before, so to see Lil Jordan Humphreys catch a ball like that and get some yards after the catch, that was really impressive to me. That showed me a lot about him. I hope that he can become first I hope that he continues this play throughout the preseason, but I hope he lands a starting spot in our roster, because more receivers for Breeze to throw to, more reliable receivers for Breeze to throw to. I mean, that's not a problem for me. That's not something I'm going to complain about. So, yeah, glad to see Lil Jordan Humphreys doing well, and I hope he'll do well in this upcoming game against the Jets. In the rushing department, Hill leads the category once again which is crazy to me. He had 5 carries for 53 yards. It's just really surreal to see him run like that in the QB position. He looks like a white Cam Newton at times, especially on this one play where he dodged a few defenders and got the first down. Like it was a real struggle to get to it, but he did it with such finesse and he did it with such style. It looked really nice. Ozigbo, he stands out to me not only in the rushing department. He did pretty fine in the rushing department, but he had 8 carries for 30 yards. But he's also had a pretty decent amount of yards as a receiver. It's always nice to have a little dual threat running back who can catch and run the ball, kind of like how Alvin Kamara does. Yeah, Ozigbo, he really impressed me this game. How he was able to get receptions and also run the ball effectively. He didn't go off for anything super impressive, but yeah, he did pretty good this game. My only problem from Ozigbo is that one fumble that he had. That one fumble he had in the red zone. Taysom Hill, I think it was one of those. I think it was on that same drive when Taysom Hill ran for a first down, and we got inside the red zone. It was like first and goal or second and goal. I can't remember right now, but yeah, it wasn't some stupid stuff like he had trouble with the handoff or he just dropped the ball and nobody touched him. No, he got absolutely smacked by one of the defenders and the ball just popped out and the Chargers landed on it. I mean they didn't do anything with it. They didn't score or anything, but yeah, he that was a turnover and I don't think that turnover takes away from his overall performance, but it is a little concerning because ball security is important, especially in red zone situations. Red zone turnovers are a major no-no. There are little to no excuses you can make for a red zone turnover. So it was kind of sour to see him turn over the ball like that, especially when he could have got a touchdown, a rushing touchdown. It kind of sucked to see him turn over the ball, but hey, it kind of happens in preseason. So as long as he works on his ball security skills and he doesn't pull some crap like this again, I don't have much problem with it. It is his first year in the league, so when you see a turnover like that, it might make you cringe a little as a Saints fan, but hey, these are some growing pains that we're just gonna have to naturally get through. But yeah, overall great performance by the team. The defense played strong. The offense had a slow start, but Taysom Hill led them back. It was overall really great. I'm looking forward to this next game against the Jets. I think we should win against them, but hey, you never know. Maybe they're actually pretty good. So yeah, that's pretty much all my thoughts on this game. Great to see Taysom Hill. Uh, Great to see him throwing the ball more accurately and consistently. So yeah, he looked a lot more comfortable in throwing position. When I went to the highlights to check out some extra game footage, I looked at the comments and a lot of people were really hyping up Taysom Hill, and some people were downplaying Teddy Bridgewater, and obviously they didn't know he had an illness, and there's a little debate within the Saints fandom of who should be the backup or who should be the future after Breeze retires. I want to say Taysom, but Teddy Bridgewater has the most experience and he's been a lot more consistent. So realistically, it's probably Bridgewater, but a lot of people are probably going to start bringing that conversation up again because Hill had a pretty good game this week, and I'm not surprised in a sense, but I just want to see some more consistency from Taysom Hill. I'm not taking away anything he did this week. He led the team back from a 14-point deficit. Good on you, man. But in order to convince me that you should have it, that you should have the backup job over an experienced starting quarterback, I'm going to have to see some more consistency. So, yeah, no slight against Taysom. He had a great game, and when our main backup was falling short, he led us back out of a hole that the first backup started. So, yeah, not taking away anything from Taysom Hill, but personally, I trust Bridgewater a lot more. He had an illness. Yeah, I would just take him over Hill. But yeah, that could change. That could change if we see some more consistent greatness out of Hill. This just might be the first part. This might not be just a temporary thing. So, yeah, who am I to say? But yeah, I'm gonna get out of here. I'm gonna go edit this, get this up. So, thank you all for watching. Like the video if you liked the video, and subscribe. It helps me out. So, yeah, until next time, guys, BrownBag signing out. Good job, Taysom. Good job.